Ralph Lauren's Oak Bluffs campaign and the quiet power of Black elitism without DEI. In an era where the majority of fashion campaigns rely heavily on the language of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, to justify Black visibility, Ralph Lauren's Oak Bluffs campaign offered something strikingly different: Black presence without explanation. Situated in the historical African American enclave of Martha's Vineyard, the campaign depicted well dressed Black people golfing, boating, lounging near oceanfront estates, and dressed in linen like they belonged, because they do. There was no monologue about struggle, no token diversity statement, and no apologies. The message was simple yet radical. These Black people live this lifestyle. Full stop. Unlike traditional DEI forward campaigns that often operate from a charity mindset aimed at uplifting, including, or acknowledging marginalized communities, the Oak Bluffs campaign showed a class of Black people that didn't need to be included. They were already central. These are the Blackademics, the policy scholars, educators, lawyers, the second generation professionals whose wealth, style, and values have long been part of the cultural fabric of American prestige, even if rarely spotlighted in fashion. This wasn't a campaign that said, let's give them access, but one that said, they already have it. Oak Bluffs is not just any setting. The vineyard, and particularly its Black neighborhoods, have long been a site of cultural refuge and self-definition for Black elites dating back to the early 1900s. Families like the Obamas, the Beltons, the Clyburns, and countless unnamed pillars of Black civic and intellectual life summer there not for spectacle but for continuity. They own beach homes passed down for generations and spend their days playing golf, organizing book clubs, sailing, and preserving traditions that rarely make it into mainstream media representations of Blackness. Ralph Lauren's decision to use Oak Bluffs as a setting was therefore not a creative accident, but a cultural acknowledgement. What's powerful about this campaign is how visually refuted the idea that Blackness must always be tied to struggle or exceptionality in order to be seen. These were not models posing as characters, they were real people who owned the look, the land, and the leisure. They wore polo shirts, tennis whites, and relaxed suits not as aspirational costume, but as the uniform of their everyday lives. It was Ralph Lauren doing what it does best: selling Americana, but widening the lens to include a form of Black life that has always been there. It's simply overlooked. Critics might argue that the campaign sidestepped deeper conversations about inequality, but the critique would miss the point. Sometimes Black excellence doesn't need to be narrated, it just needs to be witnessed. The imagery of the campaign functions as a counter-narrative to both white exclusivity and Black pathology, offering a third, rarely seen alternative: Black normalcy in luxury. The world of these subjects isn't exceptional in their circles, it's standard. There was also a refreshing lack of performance in this campaign. These weren't celebrities brought in to give the brand social clout. Instead, these were cultural insiders, educators, artists, and legacy families who represent a class that doesn't scream for attention because their identity isn't built on visibility. They already belong in the Ralph Lauren universe. Their lives mirror the values the brand espouses: tradition, quality, ease, and timeless American style. The campaign's focus on golf and beaches, a pairing long associated with white New England elites, reclaims those symbols without any need for verbal explanation. By placing Black bodies in these spaces, Ralph Lauren communicated an entirely different kind of power, not one that derived from celebrity or politics, but from generational wealth, cultural capital, and taste. It was aspirational, yes, but not in a fantastical way. For many, it was a recognition of real people with real money who have always existed just outside the frame. In doing so, Ralph Lauren gave viewers a taste of what Black America could look like outside the bounds of trauma marketing and DEI tokenism. It reminded audiences that some Black communities are just not surviving, but thriving in ways that don't require public approval or institutional permission. They don't need to be invited to the table, they already own the patio. This campaign wasn't about proving worth or seeking validation. It was about showing that a world where Blackness and leisure coexist isn't a dream. It's just someone's Saturday. Okay. So the other part, I talk about the Blackademics because half of my family are Blackademics. I just don't like them. I'm sorry. I think that the Blackademic space is extremely elitist. It's very racist when we're talking about Black supremacy and where that shit comes from. Like my aunt Margaret, when they inherited a lot of that money, they put it toward the Black Panthers and a whole bunch of like radical Black groups that don't really like any of the other races at all. Like it's just like when I talk about my grandmother being a racist, I'm not just saying that she's like anti-Black in some way that it's like, what is she, pro-Mexican? No, they don't like anybody who's not them. Like that little Creole group of people think everybody else is shit. Like I've heard her go in on ugly white women, ugly Mexican women, ugly Asian women. Everybody can get the smoke and all the ways. Like I think we need to like widen the conversation around what active hate groups are, what they look like, how they form, how they move, because it's not just poor Black people who are on the chopping block. The talking points go across the board, and it's really funny when people think that my ideas are so radical and like I'm saying these things like they're coming from nowhere. Who the fuck do you think I learned this from? Like it's just goes back quite a few generations. That's why it's like so refreshing to hear Miss Tina talk about things like Beyonce's mom putting things into words, because I think she's really good at making shit palatable but also making it plain. That's like a southern Black woman, and she's actually from the same place my grandmother is from. She looks just like my grandmother actually, like, but Miss Tina sees herself as Black and my grandmother did not. That's the difference. Like, so they can live the same experience, but I think the way that Miss Tina describes it, she's describing it from a place of like understanding how those negative experiences shaped her in a way that made her want to be and do better. And so you hear it a lot in the way that like Beyonce dresses or the way that Beyonce talks or decisions that Beyonce makes in her career that are just so pro-Black. It's like undeniable. It's just like not seeped in anybody else's experience at all. Everything from the hairstyle to the shoes to the sock to the song. Like I got hot sauce in my bag. Seriously? Like it's just like it's so Black that it's like nobody else even exists. That's why I think so many people didn't understand what lemonade was. I was shocked that like anybody who basically wasn't a Black American even watched Lemonade and I don't think anyone understands it obviously the way that we understood it, but it was crazy because like it was her describing in like words and images and like song and analogies and all of these things how like this our shit. We made all of it, the whole thing. And it was like, it was really shitting on everybody else, but it was like, you don't even have to scream. It was the same way that this like Oak Bluffs campaign is like literally letting you know, like, this is Saturday for these people. And it's not just like today. And they didn't make their money being rappers. They've had the money for a very long time. Just so long, so long. This is remember when I made the video about the Blackademics, I posted the Tupac talk. If you go back and watch it, Tupac is literally in the room with the Blackademics telling them about themselves, and you like never hear people do that. He was literally, the talk happened at a gala. It was like somebody's, I don't even know what the fuck they call it, but it was some really expensive event. And I don't know why they invited Tupac, but they did. And he got up and he gives this talk and he's like, look, y'all are the problem. And then he goes on to tell the story of his mother and how they never helped. Just all the shit. Go listen to the talk for yourself. I don't like repeating myself. Not the point though, but let's also go back because I feel like the Fresh Prince, they just remade the Fresh Prince, but there's also the original version of the Fresh Prince that literally showed y'all what Blacademics are in Bel Air. Like, we can unpack colorism in the show, we can unpack everything else, but also it was literally the Blacademics on screen for like 12 seasons, and that's what was so shocking. People act like it's like brand new and they have never seen it, and they will talk all day about Sexy Red. Like, you weren't even in the Fresh Prince story. Like, it's just, that's what's so funny about the, like, if you go watch actually that Latinx video that I did where I was talking about like Becky G and J-Lo, like, they aren't in the Fresh Prince experience either. They're not even like side characters. Like, they're not even in the narrative. Period. Like, at least Stacey Dash was like a supporting character, or like she literally had a role. Every black actor who is doing something right now had a supporting role on the Fresh Prince show. Go look back. Like, Stacey Dash had 2 episodes. Gabrielle Union had 3. Jada Pinkett had 2. Everybody. The Fresh Prince was literally a show where you have this like black Philly poor kid who goes to Bel Air where it's like super fucking rich and they have like a British black butler. This is like just, if that does not represent social class for you or what the Blacademics are, like, I don't know what is. And it's crazy because like that show is from the 90s, but the money goes back very long. Like, that was just one example, but I think people thought that was just like a show that nobody's living that experience. It's because you don't know them, and the reason that you don't know them is because they don't want you to know them. They don't want to know you. If they wanted to know you, they would know you. That's like the whole last point. That's when I made that point about like Yara Shahidi. Like, Yara Shahidi's telling my story, but who's telling Yara Shahidi's story? Nobody. That is the point. Like, the Blacademics don't even want you to know they exist. The whole point is to see like the Asian mediocrity and for them to keep going. We are the model minority. We are blah blah blah, and they just make fun of it on Saturday. Go if you ever get an invite or the opportunity to go to one of these brunches, because the black people love a brunch. They love a fucking brunch. So if you have the opportunity to go, you will hear shit talking like you have never heard before. You will hear racism like you have never heard before. You will hear classism. Like, these are not conversations appropriate for YouTube, but I guarantee you that they exist. And I'm like, I don't know. I think the Ralph Lauren campaign was an eye opener for the poverty escapers. Like, the poverty escapers didn't know that like what the Blacademics looked like, because like in their minds they all look like Lotto, which that's crazy. Like, the Blacademics hate Lotto, if that wasn't clear. Lotto, Swappy, even Rihanna, like all of them who are not popular in those spaces. They are so unpopular. Like, they are like hated. They aren't how do you say, like, aspirational. No, I mean, maybe people play their music at, I don't know, a tea event or something, but it's certainly not like, I'm sorry. I think the Blacademics are the worst, but I also think that I've like Lotto and the Blacademics are on this like equally shitty opposite plane. Both of them are just as bad to me. I think that the Kelly Stamps and the Issa Rae way are the ways forward, but I also think that Issa Rae descends from a line of Blacademics. Like, I can see it in her smile. That bitch, like, she smiles money. Like, she's just like, Issa Rae and Jadena are like the African version of Blacademics. They reap a prestige. That's why I named her the Pedigree Princess, because like, either way, that bitch was gonna have brunch. Like, either way, she was gonna build the table and have the brunch. If you haven't seen my Blacademics at brunch video, go watch that one. I feel like that's why everybody loved it, because you just get, if you know, you know. Half of y'all haven't been to brunch yet, so just go to brunch and don't say nothing. Just put on a dress, okay, and like just sit there and sip your tea and shut the fuck up. You can hear the conversation for yourself. Don't take it from me. Go listen for yourself. It's so bad. It's so mean. Like, I don't know. I did also think the really funny thing and maybe I'll make a whole essay about this. I think it's kind of funny that they had like the Afro textured girl, like the 4C or she had like some Afro textured hair, but like longer Afro textured hair. Because like that's the thing about the poor people of color, and I'll make a whole essay about this. The poor people of color are not able to afford or understand how to care for textured hair because our products are more expensive. They have to have more natural ingredients. It is more difficult to grow hair like this. Like if you don't know how to do it, your hair won't grow or it'll fall out or something. So the campaign is almost like it's like a double, it's like a triple whammy because like you see it. Have you seen the white moms with the biracial kids who get online and are like, I'm trying to figure out how to do my daughter's hair. I'm sorry, but like some African girl clocked that and remade it like 3 years ago. Go read the comments in that video. That shit is hilarious. She was like, look at this bitch try. She was like really trying, and it was pathetic, but it was also very funny. Quality this shit is better than Netflix. You should really tap in. But it was almost like a double whammy though, because the girl's like sitting there with like long afro textured hair, and probably everyone else being like, but this is supposed to be poor. We've marketed Lotto as having money. Lotto has never been to a brunch ever. Like, it ain't happening. That's no. Like, Lotto is like Satan to that community. That will never be a thing. Never, ever. Swappy, neither. Her, just none of them. It ain't the thing. And yes, it's because of racism. Anyway, well, it's racism and classism together. It's like a bloodline of like, we ain't them. Oh, that's what the black academics are.